Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the update preview stream. This is Bugs here. I'm joined today by Artemis and Miss D. Say hi, guys.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
So, what do we have going on this week? Well, we're around mid-month, approaching the end of the month actually, but it is a slow week for Rust development as the majority of the team of Facepunch is actually away at GDC. If you're not familiar, GDC is Game Development Conference. It's happening in, what is it, San Francisco or some shit like that? Yeah, San Francisco this week. And you might have seen, like last week, a tweet from Rust saying, hey, we had to cancel this event due to real life threats. And like me, you might have been like, oh, I guess they're just not going to GDC. But no, they went to GDC. They just canceled a meetup thing because of real life threats. How dumb is that? Not that they canceled, but that people are like giving real life threats to game developers. Like, come on, guys, what are we doing here? Anyway, the team is at GDC. Not a ton of commits going on, and we are a couple weeks away from the forced wipe. As you may recall, this is a longer month. There are 5 Thursdays this month. And so a bit longer of a development cycle as we wait for the next forced wipe and update on April 6th. So that's 2 weeks from today. And with that, it's interesting to see where we're at because it's kind of unclear as to what April's update and force wipe is going to look like at the moment. On one hand, we have a bunch of stuff on the aux2 branch, and we'll go through. We can't show it off because, once again, it's on the aux2 branch and we don't have access to it. But there's a bunch of stuff on the aux2 branch, and it feels to me like that's what they're shooting to get out for the April 6th update. But with GDC and everything, and including a new monument on the aux2 branch, it seems like it might be a little tight to fit this stuff in for the April 6th update. So I'm kind of at this moment unclear of what April update is going to look like. I am hoping, however, that the stuff on aux2 is looking really good and is slated for the April 6th update because there's some cool stuff on there that we can't wait to see. One of those things is the nuclear missile silo. This is, of course, the newest monument to grace the plains of Rust. It looks, based on the commits, like it will be a underground large monument with loot, NPCs, and radiation. I say radiation not because we've seen that specifically in the commits, but it's, come on, guys, a nuclear missile silo. If there's going to be radiation anywhere, well, it would make sense to be here. The other interesting thing that came out this week around this monument is there was a post on Reddit that actually clipped a little piece of my article from, I think, last week talking about this monument and how it's going to be a large underground monument. And Alistair got on to Reddit and replied saying the monument. So that's interesting. I make of that what you will. I'm very curious to see how they're going to continue to build out the lore and kind of
I see,
the.
sorry, I see someone is saying you're muted on stream.
Nope,
Several people
not
saying
me.
muted, no sound, question mark.
Let me
Sound.
see. Yep, definitely transmit as far as I can see.
I
Oh
can
my
hear the
God.
sound
I
now.
don't think my audio is coming through
Oh, it's
actually
fine now, it says.
on
Oh,
the
they
stream.
say it's fine
Yeah,
now.
it definitely is popping through somewhere.
Now it came through?
Yep,
Yeah, it's
for
fine now.
sure.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you guys. Sorry about that. Do I have to restart?
No,
Was
I
I just
think
talking to
they
myself?
once said 10 seconds. You
Oh, okay, cool. Well, good. Because I don't really want to repeat all that. I was talking for a
Yeah.
little while there.
were.
It was actually only 4 minutes, but it seems like a while when you're the one talking. Anyway, pardon that little technical glitch there. And thank you for the heads up. Anyway, nuclear missile silo, newest monument. Alistair saying it will add some meaning to the events unfolding in the island. And oh, what it was when you went to the tweet, I got muted. So I think the sound on your
Oh,
Tweet
that would make more
scene
sense. Yeah,
mutes
fair enough. That might
Niles.
be
Yeah.
my fault.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
How could
Well,
you, Artemis?
Oh
You're
my
muting
god.
me over
they
here.
could read it though, at least, right?
But
So.
yeah, you could read it. Who needs to hear me when you can read it? Anyway, I guess we
Well,
won't switch
hopefully.
back to that scene here. But nuclear missile silo, it's coming in. That's one of the things on Aux 2. But we also have some other stuff on Aux 2 as well. There's double saddles. So that's going to be 2 guys, 1 horse. That sounds weird. I got to stop saying that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be, a double saddle. You can fit 2 people on 1 horse. You're going to buy it at the ranch or the large barn or whatever, and 2 people will fit on it. Not sure uh, how it's going to impact the riding of the horse. If the stamina of the horse is going to go down quicker, that would make sense. Not sure how much storage the double saddle is going to be and what the price is going to be. I can imagine it would be a little bit more expensive. But really, at the end of the day, none of that really matters. What matters is you're going to be able to have 2 people riding 1 horse. And that's going to be pretty cool. That's also on Aux 2. And then also, the other thing is this multiple map markers and really just these improvements to the in game map markers. And what that looks like based on commits is a number of things. One, there's going to be these extra map markers that people will be able to add and share with their team and even label with text. And those labels will show up on the compass for you and your team, including, it looks like, the first 3 letters of the label on the compass. So you can get a sense for if someone's like ass is over here, then you'll see the ass label like on there or whatever. Use your imagination. I don't know why my mind's in the gutter today, but and then also there's this ping thing. And this pinging feature is interesting. It looks like with binoculars and maybe a drone, you'll be able to ping points of interest, and that will have some sort of visual cue for the rest of your teammates to be like, hey. And we saw in the commits this week specifically, you can ping bags and corpses. So it looks like maybe you'll only be able to ping certain points of interest when you see them, or it'll highlight if you can ping an area, but if there's a certain point of interest or certain object that's pingable in that area, maybe it'll just highlight onto that object specifically. Not clear exactly, but it does look like this is going to allow for much more robust team communication and management, especially across the map. So that's going to be interesting too. And once again, all this, the nuclear missile silo, the double saddles, and the map improvements are on the Aux 2 branch, unavailable to the public, but being tested by the development team at large. And so, with 2 weeks to go until the update and forced wipe, it'll be interesting to see how this next week in particular plays out. If we see Aux 2 stuff get merged into normal staging, or if we see Aux 2 open up to the public at large, that either of those could be a good sign that we've got the stuff coming in for the April 6th update. But as it stands, it really could go either way. But I do get the strong sense the devs are pushing to get this stuff out for the April update, because otherwise, there's not much other stuff. I mean, there's some miscellaneous fixes. There's this auto wear clothing that I'll go into, but there's not a bunch of other content going on in development that's like ready to go or close to ready to go beyond this Aux 2 stuff. So I do get the sense they are going to shoot to get that in for the April update. And it looks like April update probably will be the nuclear missile silo launch, double saddles, and map improvements, and a couple other things. But before that's confirmed, we'll have to wait and see this stuff get merged into normal staging, which I'm thinking probably, if it's going to happen, will happen next week. And so hopefully this time next week, if you want to tune in again, we can on the stream show off the more kind of specifics about this nuclear missile silo, double saddles, and the like. But anyway, that's the Aux 2 stuff. Also, on normal staging, we actually do have one thing we can show off, although it's just kind of a small quality of life thing. But it's this auto wear clothing functionality that just came in. Once again, quality of life, not a huge deal. But the long and short of it is you simply hold Alt Look key while right clicking or hover looting from a loot container to wear the clothing items immediately. And that's only if it can be worn without taking anything else off. So whereas if you were to right click before or hover loot before just normally, those items would just go into a storage box, right? But now if you right click while alt looking or hovering the alt look key, clicking the alt look key, not hovering over it, clicking it, holding it down and right click, then it closes you. So I hope that makes sense. Just kind of small quality of life thing. But it's one of those things that as you get used to it and as you get the hang of just like alt looking and clicking, you'll be able to clothe yourself a lot quicker than previously. You don't just have to manually drag everything on, which is a nice quality of life thing. So that is on normal staging and definitely coming in for the April 6th update. Also, we got more world models being worked on. And that is just, if you're not aware, the world models are basically the model when an object is dropped. So if you were to drop an AK on the ground, the world model shows up now as an AK, right? But there's a lot of these objects in the game. And we've seen over the years more and more of these world models get made. But nevertheless, there's still some objects in the game that when you drop, it just gives the good old fashioned burlap sack, right? And what they're doing is basically working on getting rid of some of those sacks and actually having you see the actual world models. Specifically, they're working on some ammo types like shotgun ammo types and stuff like that, high velocity rockets, and the PTZ camera. When you drop one of those, you'll see the actual world model of it instead of a burlap sack. A lot of that stuff, I think, still on a separate branch. Not sure how much, if any, got merged in yet, but it's not a huge body of work and not a huge amount of testing required. So I imagine that stuff will be coming in for the April 6th update. We'll keep you posted as always. Also, another thing going on, we've got some other stuff. The team UI and name tags will use Steam nicknames instead of Steam names slash streamer names if you are friends with the player. So basically, if you add a nickname on Steam for any of your friends and you team up with them on the team UI in game, it will show their Steam nickname that you've given them instead of their actual Steam name, which is cool. And if you want to turn that off, there is a convar. It just says use underscore Steam underscore nicknames. That makes sense. And if you were pop that in F1 and do 0, then it'll revert to the previous behavior that we're all used to and just show everyone's normal Steam name. They've also done switch back to the satchel values or back to normal. In case you missed it, the satchel was nerfed a little bit, specifically like sheet metal doors. It was taking 5 instead of 4 or whatever. That is back to normal now and will be back to normal as of it looks like forced wipe. So another 2 weeks of nerf satchels, but as of April 6th, it will be back to normal. They're also doing some camera fixes, nothing big there, but just some fixes to the cameras. More work on ferry terminals. And ferry terminals, if you recall, are most likely linked to that Nexus body of work, that server to server transfer where you and your buds can stock up on gear, take a boat out to this ferry terminal, and then go to a linked server. Those linked servers will share blueprint wipes and blueprints across both servers will be synced up and they'll have the same map wipe time. So you're not going to have people like showing up fully geared on a fresh wipe server because it's just not going to be possible. If one of the Cloud Link servers wipes, then the other one will wipe too. And this is not in the wild yet. This is still in testing and has been in development for, I want to say, well over a year now. And so, not sure when it's going to make it into the game, but what we've heard from Facepunch is that when it does, for the initial launch at least, it's likely only going to be available on official and probably only Facepunch official servers. We will play with doing, once it's available to us, maybe linking up US medium 1 and 2 and EU medium 1 and 2, and like maybe link up the longs, long 1, 2, and 3 in the US, long 1, 2, and 3 in the EU. Don't think we're going to link across regions because pings and the like, but we'll see. But we do have a lot of leeway in our server arsenal to play with this. So I am excited to kind of play with that once it is ready to go. But once again, not sure when it's going to be ready to go. It's really been being worked on now for a while, and we'll have to see. But I am hoping some point in the next several months we'll see that, move into the testing phase. And I think it could be a great addition to the game because I know a lot of group leaders and everything like that we've been talking to recently. They want more action in the servers. They want more population in the servers. And we are going to be playing with increasing our population in our servers We've hesitated a bit on that given the whole multi-threaded networking thing that's been in the works and sort of launched and then pulled back and then launched and then pulled back. And if you're not aware, that's just changing how the networking of the servers works to use multiple cores of the CPU. That's the multi-threading part of it instead of just one core. And ideally, when that multi-threaded process and networking is live, it will have more performance, better performance, and allow for more people in the servers. But it is kind of this hit or miss at the moment. It's kind of still being worked on, and some of the kinks are still being worked out. So it's not fully flushed out as far as I'm aware. And we've tested it and had a couple issues here and there, but also on the smaller servers, it seems to be running fine. But it's all to say, once we get a little more clarity around that and we get into April and see how performance is doing, we do plan on increasing the pop of some of our servers to bring more action in. But to bring it back to this Nexus stuff, this ferry terminal and server to server transfer stuff, I really look forward to that because then you don't necessarily need everyone all jammed into one server. If the servers are linked up, then you could have 200, 200, 200 across 3 servers, but then really you've got 600 people at any given time you can go and mess with and all the bases and all that stuff. So, really an interesting change to the game. I'm really curious and excited to see how that gets implemented and when. But we'll keep you posted on that. Once again, not clear when that's going to be coming in. And then finally, and then we'll deal with some questions. Fixed excavator puzzle reset, killing sleepers inside bases if too close to the excavator. So if you've ever based near the excavator and you wake up dead after you logged off because your sleeper died, well, that could have been the excavator puzzle actually killing you, but that should be resolved as of the April 6th update. So that about does it for what's going on in Rust development this week. Once again, slow week as most of the team is at GDC, but nevertheless, we are just 2 weeks away from the April 6th update. And fingers crossed that we're going to be seeing this nuclear missile silo, double saddles, map improvements, and more come 2 weeks from today. But we'll, as always, keep you posted. Miss D underscore that's me in chat. Do we have any questions from the audience?
I think we need to remind people to do at Miss D underscore that's
Oh
me,
shit,
so
I
I
forgot
see
about
them
that.
better. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And if you're
but
wondering, Miss D, that's me. Who the hell is that? What happened to Shadow? Well, Miss D is Shadow. She transitioned into Miss D to make everyone's life a lot easier. I've yet to see the
except
benefit of
yours.
that. Yeah, I've yet to see my life get easier because I keep calling her freaking Shadow. But apparently it's going to improve the quality of life of all of us around here one of these weeks. So,
Yeah.
but if you have
Yes.
questions, do Miss D underscore that's me in chat.
Thank you, Bugs. So let's start with when is whip, and is it a force wipe?
WIP is at regular scheduled time for each region. And I'm talking Rustified servers only. If you're talking some other servers, I would check out their Discord, check out the website, see when they wipe. But when we're talking Rustified servers, they wipe at 3 p.m. local time for the region. And that means AUSEA, they wiped like 11, 12 hours ago because they live in the future. And then what was it? EU wiped 2 hours and 18 minutes ago, roughly. And that's 3 p.m. GMT, I want to say. And then 3 p.m. EST is when the US servers wipe. So basically, an hour and 42 minutes from now is when the US servers will wipe. It is the Thursday weekly wipe servers today. That is your mains, your smalls, your barons, your Zen labs, and the like. Next week, we will be wiping the bi weekly servers again. The mediums and the trios will wipe again. But you might be saying, hey, Bugs, wait, it's 5 Thursdays this month, but then there's only like one. If it wipes next week, it's only going to have a 1 week wipe cycle and it's a bi weekly. What the heck? Yeah, that's just what we do when there's 5 Thursdays in the month. It'll wipe at forced, then the bi weeklies will wipe 2 weeks later, and then they'll wipe 2 weeks later. And on that last wipe, they'll just have a 1 week wipe cycle until the forced wipe happens. So that is what you can expect for next week. The mediums and trios will wipe again. We're also, I want to announce, switching over, and we have switched over to new 4K maps. These are smaller. We were running 4.5 or 4.25 across the board, and they were just plain procedural generated maps with no modifications. But we've been looking at how to best optimize our servers and how to best give the greatest experience to our players. And a lot of people said, hey, the map should be smaller. But so we wanted to go down to 4K, but when you go down to 4K, the above train network doesn't show up. And so then we got into some custom map generation, and so it's not doing the normal proc gen, but it is still a procedurally generated map, just with some modifications. But the big things of note are bandit and outpost are combined. And so everything's just in one place, and that should give more building opportunities and everything around the map. We also got rid of some of those car junk pile spawns that have no loot or anything. They just block building, and a couple of the swamps as well, because they cause lag and shit. And so these are just custom generated but still proc gen maps. They're 4K. They should load quicker. They should have better performance on the client and server end, and it should be more optimized gameplay because there's more places to build. There's a smaller map for more PvP, and there's that combined bandit and outpost. So I do hope you guys enjoy those changes that we've done. That has gone live on our odd servers as of Monday, and then as of today, it's going live on our main servers that are wiping. And then next week on the bi-weeklies, so the mediums and trios, we'll have these new 4K custom seed maps next week as well. And then the week after, come the force wipe on April 6th, the long servers will also have these 4K custom maps. That's the current plan. If something were to get in the way of that, we are open to changing it. Once again, our priority is really optimized gameplay and performance for the players. We don't care so much about jamming as many people in on wipe day as possible if it negatively impacts performance. We just want to give the best gameplay experience to the players that are in the server as possible. So that's where these changes are sourced in. And also with this, we did have to pause our map voting for the time being, given this change to the 4K maps, the custom seeds, and with the nuclear missile silo potentially coming in. We had to rework our map voting system. And so the map voting will go live again in a week or two. But in the meantime, we're just going to be choosing the maps. You can see the maps on our Discord, rustafied.com/Discord. They're posted around 24 hours before wipes in the server information channel. And that's a new channel we have with all of the servers and tags and all the information on each server that you could want. So do go check out our Discord and server information and all that good stuff. And yeah, but that's what's going on with wipes today. That was a really long-winded answer. Sorry about that. I'm just filling time. We got nothing to talk
It's
about. We got
fine.
nothing to show off
It's
today.
fine.
So
It's
I'll
fine.
just fill time talking.
Are there any news about the new clan system slash group system?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much new news about that, but when I was just talking before about the Nexus and the ferry terminals, that's where all that stuff is existing with the clan system and everything. And if you're not familiar, the clan system is like the team system, but on crack. Instead of trying to manage like 10 or so people, then the clan system is for managing 100 or so people across multiple servers. So team system, one server, 10 or so people. The clan system is more for like 100 or so people across multiple servers. It'll allow for the posting of messages and communicating with each other across different servers and all this stuff. Uh, Another really interesting facet of this server to server transfer body of work, this Nexus and the ferry terminal stuff. But that, as far as new news around that, nothing really in the past couple months. It's still kind of just tied up with this server to server transfer stuff. And we're really just waiting for that Nexus body of work to get merged in somewhere for testing. And then we'll kind of see the clan system with that as well.
Is any of this coming into the console version?
Not anytime soon, because the console version is a totally different version of the game if you're not aware. It is basically, and it's a completely different development team dealing with it too. Facepunch doesn't touch it. They offloaded it completely to this other studio, Double 11, I want to say. Yeah, Double 11. And they are just handling the console version. So if you look at the console version, they're they're kind of like taking things that have been added into the PC game over the past 2 years and cherry picking them and then adding them into console. So from that standpoint, maybe in a year or two, this stuff will be merged into console. But as it stands, console version of Rust is basically just some kind of version of Rust that is like a solid state version of what Rust was like 2 years ago, but with some UI changes and some other things to optimize for console. But yeah, I don't really track much with the console stuff because it's a completely different thing. And I tried playing Rust on console. It just wasn't really my jam. I should try it again because I tried in beta and it was still pretty janky back then. But yeah, that's what's going on with console, and we don't really track that too much.
I saw someone saying that water hookup was coming too. Do you know anything about that?
Water hookup.
Yeah,
I'm not sure in what context
maybe
that's.
planter boxes and whatnot.
Yeah, maybe. And there might be some more stuff with plumbing and hoses and all that stuff coming. Off the top of my head, I'm not aware of any specific projects around that. The main thing I can think of is around hoses and water catchers and all that stuff is some optimizations they did several weeks back to the server end because the water catchers were not performing at all on the server end, and I imagine we'll see some more performance increases like that coming in. I think there's a lot to do in that realm around industrial stuff. And in fact, if you've been experiencing more crashes in the game recently, I have a strong suspicion that's related to industrial stuff. They have already found some specific industrial stuff that causes crashes. So I am hoping that the devs fix that stuff soon. But as far as like new types of water hookups, I'm not aware of anything on the horizon.
Uh, can you please ask when we will see new slash procedural caves?
That was something that we saw a little bit of work on. Well, that was like the other month. We saw some procedural cave work. We saw some procedural dungeon work. And it looked like maybe that was going to be tied up with the nuclear missile silo a bit because the nuclear missile silo is also mostly underground. And I wasn't sure if they were going to have maybe some procedural caves associated with the nuclear missile silo or if the two are going to be completely separate. Nevertheless, we haven't heard much about procedural caves in several weeks at the earliest. So I think that might be in some form of concept limbo or just breaking the threshold of concept limbo. I'm not sure if we're going to see any new procedural caves anytime soon, but I do know it is at least it has been worked on a bit. I just don't know any timeline around it.
When is the road ring for Bradley coming?
That's a really interesting question. I haven't thought about that in a little while, but man, that was the original plan with Bradley. It wasn't just to have Bradley go around launch site, it was to have him patrol the whole ring road, right? But we haven't really heard I at least don't recall hearing anything specifically about that until, man, when Bradley came out years ago, right? So I feel like, yes, at some point that may still be a PvE event they build out. Do I think it's going to come in the next couple months? No, I don't think it's going to come anytime soon. But in the whole life cycle of the game, I think eventually they may do it. Yeah.
Is there going to be an Easter event?
Yeah, there is going to be an Easter event. Easter is planned. I don't know if it's going to go live right with the April 6th update. It probably will because Easter's like what, April 9th this year or something, or 12th? I forget.
I think so, yeah.
So with that, like sometimes we see the holiday events go live with a mandatory patch mid-month or something like that. But I feel like with Easter so close to when the Force Wipe is going live, it might just launch the Easter event with the Force Wipe. I don't know. We'll see. But regardless, there is an Easter event coming. We have seen signs of this Easter event 2023 be worked on in the commits. No word on exactly what it will entail. I imagine we'll have the egg hunts again. It looks like the egg suit is going to come back. Uh, some various other bunny and Easter related things going around. But we'll keep you posted on that. And we should probably have more information in the next 2 weeks as we get closer to Force Wipe.
Is there any news to server performance?
Yeah, server performance is still being worked on. It's still the big thing with that is around multi threaded networking. And once multi-threaded networking, it is turned on by default now, but we have it off on a lot of our servers, especially the bigger servers, because we were having intermittent lag issues on higher pop servers running multi-threaded networking. But as far as server performance goes, that's like top of the list. But then next we have the PhysX crashes and the AI crashes. Those are crashes that have existed in the game for a while. And if you're playing on a server and it crashes and then it comes up and there's a slight rollback, well, that's because the game has these crashes built in. And I know it's frustrating as hell. And I know a lot of people in Discord say, hey, the Rustafied servers are the only one that crash like this. I'm sorry, that's not the case. This is just a version of the game. It's an issue with this current version of the game, and the devs are aware of it. We did have a new version of Unity they were testing just the other day, and fingers were crossed that that would fix the AI and PhysX crashes, but unfortunately it didn't. And so they reverted that change. So we're back to square zero, kind of just hoping that these crashes get resolved at some point, but it's not even something that devs can do. It's an issue apparently underlying with the game engine Unity, which is also, of course, still in development along with this game being in development. So hands are a little tied as far as these crashes are concerned. What we've done locally for Rustified is we're one using the new optimized maps, which should load quicker and have better performance for server and clients. And also, if there is a server crash, the server loads about 3 times faster on a custom map than it does on ProcGen. So when we do have a server crash, we'll be back up in more like 2-3 minutes as opposed to 5, 6, or 7 minutes. And then what we've also done is we've lowered the autosave interval. So the rollback should be less now. But that's what's going on in the server and performance realm. We've got these crashes at play, and we just, as a server owner, have to just restart the server when it happens. Because and then if it's an AI crash, what we do is we disable AI as Facepunch has instructed us. We disable AI until the next daily restart and hope that then the AI doesn't cause a crash again. But it's like there's this AI crash and then there's this PhysX crash. And both of them are just issues with Unity at its core. And we just have to be patient until it gets resolved. And hopefully, over time, what we'll see is those get resolved and we'll see multi-threaded networking get really ship shape. And then we'll have better performance and more reliable gameplay than we've ever had before. But I'm in the same boat as you guys. We just got to be patient and wait for that stuff to happen.
Would you ever consider, what is it, combine Bandit and Outpost?
Oh shit, baby. I won't only consider it. We did it. We did it. We finally did it. So so this is part of the change with the 4K maps and the custom map seeds that we're using now. Our odd servers went live with these maps, these 4K maps with Bandit Outpost combined, a couple BS things removed to optimize for building. And that went live on the odds as of Monday. And then as of today, it goes live on our main servers, EU main, AU main, SEA main, and US main. It will go live on the wipe in like what, an hour and a half. And then as of next week, it'll go live. The 4K maps with combined Outpost and Bandit will go live for the bi-weeklies next week. And then it'll go live on Force Swipe with the longs as well. So yes, we're switching our entire lineup. At least this is the current plan. Pretty much our entire lineup is switching to these custom maps that are a bit smaller. They're more performant, so you should have better FPS. You should load into them quicker. And on the server side, it should have less overhead, and so better performance. Maybe allow for us to get more players in there. So that's the whole deal with the combined outposts and the maps.
Does anybody miss the chaos of the old weekly updates?
You know, a piece of me does. Like, I think back in the when I first started this, and Gary was the main developer, and he was just flying stuff in and updates every single day, multiple times a day. It was like the Wild West days of Rust Experimental, where you spawned on some rolling plains on an 8K map with wolf monuments, and you started with a bolty and some stuff. A piece of me does miss those days because it was always exciting to wake up and say, "Hey, what did Gary add this time? Oh, he added code locks today, or he
Oh, and
added a
another one,
cupboard."
yeah.
But yeah, but those days are long gone, and a piece of me is okay that they are, because now instead of writing an article Uh, like back in the day, I wrote an article every single day for the first couple of years of this. Now I just write one once a week, and I kind of like the once a week from that standpoint.
Yeah, that's a lot of work behind, right?
It was a lot of work, but it was fun. It was fun, and it helped build what we got today. So I'm happy for it.
Do you think there's gonna be any Twitch drops on Force Wipe?
I don't know. I think we're about due for some Twitch drops. It's been since the Trust and Rust thing earlier this year. And the devs did kind of say they were shooting for a bi monthly kind of schedule on the Twitch drops. So we are due for a Twitch drop. That said, I haven't heard anything specifically about Twitch drops. So I don't know. But we will see. We'll keep you posted.
When is Force Wipe?
Force Wipe is April 6th, 2 weeks from today. Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, I had to click my calendar
Yeah,
real quick
it
and just
is.
make sure. Yeah. But it is 2 weeks from today, April 6th. That will be Force Wipe and the update. We're hoping maybe to see the nuclear missile silo, double saddles, and in-game map improvements and more with this Force Wipe. But it's not completely slated yet that that's going to be what happens, as all that functionality is all on the aux2 branch. It's not publicly available for testing yet, and most of the team at Facepunch is at GDC this week, so it's kind of a slower week. But I got my fingers crossed, and I'm intending that we'll see the aux2 get merged into normal staging early next week, and that'll be kind of the sign that, okay, we are going to see this stuff go live with the April 6th update and Force Wipe. But we'll keep you posted, and as always, we are here same time, same place every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, to show off what's going on in Rust development. And for everyone in the across the pond over in EU and UK and all that stuff, time zone shifts happen this week. So next week we are going to be at a different time for you guys. Was it going to be an hour later?
Yeah, it's going to be an hour later, so back
Yeah,
Yes,
to
it's going to be,
usual time. Yep.
yeah, back to usual time for
26
you guys.
EU
Yeah.
transfer. Yeah.
Because we change time zones around the world, and we don't even do it at the same time. No, US
It's
does it
so
this
weird.
week, EU does it this week, AU does it some other freaking time. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
and I
And it's
think AU also do it like in different states or whatever it's called.
yeah.
Like they don't do it like all AU. They like I don't know,
And
separate
what
it. It's
and what are
weird.
we doing anymore? This was for the farmers, right? Doesn't Bill Gates own all the farms now? Like, doesn't can't he just change the time on Windows for us all? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why we do this, but it's confusing as hell every time of the year where this happens. It always messes up some wipes and some meetings and stuff. But anyway, I'll I'll move on from my hate of time zone changes. What
Let's
else
do
we
a
got going on?
recap. Not
A little recapity cap.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
let's
do a
do it.
recap.
So it is CDC week. What does that mean? Well, that means most of the vast majority of FacePunch staff are away at GDC. And that's Game Development Conference. That's a conference, the biggest one, I think, or something. They say it's the biggest in San Francisco. It's for game development. So it makes sense that FacePunch went. You might have seen like last week, they were like, oh, we're not going to go to this. We had to cancel this in-person event because of real life threats, which is yeah, crazy that they get real life threats from, but whatever, what are you going to do? But they still went to GDC. They just had to cancel the in-person meetup that they were going to do. So it is a bit of a slower week. Nevertheless, we are seeing some forward progress, especially on the aux2 branch. We got the nuclear missile silo being worked on over on aux2. Aux2 is not available to the public yet, but maybe it will be opened up, or this stuff will be merged into normal staging soon so that the public can test it. In the meantime, though, we're just working off commits and things like that. But we've got a nuclear missile silo is the newest monument in the game. It's going to be a big, mostly underground monument with loot, NPCs, and radiation. Interestingly enough, Alistair did mention on Reddit this week that the monument will add some meaning to the events unfolding on the island. So, not sure exactly what that's going to entail, but it should add a little bit more to the lore of Rust, which should be interesting. So we've got the nuclear missile silo on aux2. Also on aux2, we've got double saddles. This is going to be for two people riding on one horse. Not clear if that's going to have extra storage capabilities, if the horse is going to lose stamina quicker. That would kind of make sense. It looks like these saddles are going to be available for purchase at the ranches or the big whatever the horse places, the stables. And yeah, double saddles. And then also on Aux 2, there's this new improvements to the in-game map where people can add and share with their group map markers that have different labels. And there's also this new pinging system where with binoculars or with, it looks like maybe even drones, you can ping points of interest to alert your team on where these points of interest are. So that's all going to be interesting to see. uh, Once again, not clear if all this is going to make it in for the April 6th update in 2 weeks or not. I think the team at Face Punch is shooting to have that be able to go live for the April 6th update, because otherwise, looking at the commits, April 6th update is not going to be much of anything if we don't get Aux 2 in there. So I think they are shooting for that. But as it stands now, it's still kind of up in the air. But I am intending that we see a merge into normal staging from Aux 2 early next week, so that for this update preview stream next week, same time, same place, 1 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, we can show off ideally this new monument, the nuclear missile silo. We can show you the double saddles. We can show you the in-map improvements and all that other stuff. So we'll keep you posted on that. Also going on to continue the recapity cap, we've got auto wear clothing came into normal staging this week. That is a slight quality of life thing, but pretty cool. How it works basically is while you're looting and right click or hover looting from a loot container, you can hold the alt look key, and instead of putting that clothing item in the container, it'll have you wear it if it can equip it to your clothing inventory without removing anything else, if that makes sense. So if you try to hover over boots and you already got boots on, it won't send them. But if you're shoeless and you hold the alt look and right click, then it'll put you in some shoes. So that's a nice little quality of life thing that, especially as you get used to it and get kind of the muscle memory of holding the alt look at the right times, it should be a lot easier to dress yourself and equip yourself, because you don't have to drag the things over there, which is nice. Also, we got some more world models coming. And that's, if you're not aware, the world models are just when you drop an item on the ground, it either shows up as, like, if you drop an AK, you see an AK, right? But then if you drop some bullets or something, you see a burlap sack. The adding of the world models is just getting rid of some of those sacks and turning them into what the actual object looks like. So we're seeing that with some ammo types, some shotgun shells, things like that, some high velocity rockets, and some PTZ cameras will also have a world model here soon enough. We got some other stuff also going on. We got Team UI and name tags will use the Steam nicknames instead of Steam names or streamer names. If you are friends with the player on Steam and you've given them a nickname, then yeah, that's the name that will show up on the Team UI and on their name tag now going forward. You can turn this off if you want with the new convar use underscore Steam underscore nicknames. And if you were to set that to false or 0, then it would just revert back to the previous behavior that we're all used to. Also, they changed the satchel values back to normal. The satchel got a little bit of a nerf with this force wipe, and they fixed it. And so it's going to be back to the normal values, damage values for satchels come the next force wipe on April 6th. There's been some camera fixes. There's some more work on the ferry terminals, which of course is that Nexus server to server transfer body of work and the clan system and all that stuff. I think that's all tied in with the ferry terminals. So still keeping an eye on that. Doesn't look like that's ready to go anytime next month or anything, but we'll keep you posted. And then finally, they fixed an issue with the excavator puzzle reset, killing sleepers inside of bases that were built too close to the excavator. So if you've ever built close to the excavator, you go to sleep and you wake up dead. Well, that was probably due to this bug, and hopefully that should be resolved come the April 6th update in 2 weeks. Couple miscellaneous other announcements. Once again, we are trying out new custom seed 4K maps. These maps should optimize, have more PvP action, optimize for more build room, and keep just the servers more interesting, because instead of 4.25 or 4.5K, the smaller map should keep things a little more interesting. Also, with this change, we did combine Bandit and Outpost so that we can optimize there as well. And we got rid of some dumb bullshit on the maps, like those broken down cars that don't spawn any loot near them, and like some of the swamps and stuff. It's just like caused lag and extra entities and everything like that. And we're playing with really optimizing these maps so that It's not only better gameplay experience for every player in the server, but it's more performant, has better optimization, and it also loads quicker. And so if we do have a server crash, which there are some two main issues in the game that are causing chronic server crashes right now, and that's the AI issue and also the PhysX crashes. These are issues with underlying in Unity. It's not even an issue that FaceBunch apparently can fix. We've got to wait for Unity to fix it. And so in the meantime, servers sometimes crash. But with these new custom maps, they load about 3 times faster than the ProcGen maps because the server on start doesn't have to regenerate the whole map. It just loads the custom map into memory. So that process is quicker. So the other benefit is when a server does crash with these new maps, it'll load quicker and you can get back in quicker. Not ideal to have crashes at all. I know it fucking sucks, but it's where we're at right now. It's just part of the game. It's a feature, not a bug. It gives you a break to go outside. I don't know. It's bullshit. It sucks, but hopefully FacePunch will fix it or Unity will get it fixed soon. In the meantime, we're just going to restart the servers as quickly as we can, and we also increased or decreased, I should say, the autosave interval. So the rollbacks should be less when a server does crash. But that's what we're doing with maps. The 4K maps rolled out to the odds this Monday, and then they're rolling out and have rolled out to our main servers when they wipe today. They're going to roll out next week to the bi-weekly servers, the mediums and the trios. And then on Force Wipe on April 6th, they're going to roll out to the long servers as well. So we'll be running 4K combined bandit outpost optimized maps across pretty much the entirety of our infrastructure by the time 2 weeks goes by and the force wipe happens. Voting is temporarily off as we make these changes and all that stuff, but we will have map voting back on our Discord in the next week or two as soon as we can. The other thing is with the April 6th update, we're planning on running the community Happus on our ZenLab servers for at least a week after wipe. So if you miss Happus, well, there's a community built version of Happus because if you're not familiar, FacePunch the other month just said we're no longer supporting Happus and they dropped it from the official map rotation. So someone in the community, Cyfex, great guy, talented dude, came up and took over creating Happus. And we're working with him. We're going to run Happus for at least a 1 week wipe on our EU and US Zen labs come the April 6th update 2 weeks from today. And also, we've had a lot of requests for increases to population on our servers. We're starting with upping the pop by 50 on our long one servers in US and EU. So it'll be 250 instead of 200. We'll play with going up from there. But once again, we want to prioritize performance above just cramming as many people on the server as possible. I know a lot of servers do that. They go up to 800 on wipe day and then back down to 250 a day or two later. I think that's a shit experience and doesn't make sense. Like, let's just have a server that can have the population on wipe day and can manage that same population a week later. So that's why we're being gradual about it. But thank you for your patience with that. And we are planning on increasing the pop on some of those servers in the very near future. And boy, I think that does it for announcements. I'm talking a lot today because there's like not a
Sir
lot
talked a lot.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, Sir talks a lot for sure because there's not a lot to show off in the game. But anyway, any other questions we got?
Not really, but I just thought of one. So if Happy's is doing well on Zen Labs, are you thinking of doing an actual community server with that, maybe?
We might do a Happus community server. We Happus Cyfex has been very straight with me that they're looking for a home for Happus. We're not necessarily going to have it take over the entirety of our Zen Labs, um, map rotation because with Zen Labs we've been doing the low pop, low map size, high PvP stuff, and that's resonated with a lot of people. So we're not going to throw that out completely, but we are going to see. We're going to and with this it's always interesting because like Savas was removed, right? And then there was this like huge outcry of people saying, "Oh my god, Savas was removed. How could you?" And then we put Savas back up and like not a ton of people joined the server. So it's like people love getting upset when something's taken away from them, but then you give it back and they're like, "No, I'm good. Fuck it." So I hope that's not the case with Happus. But we're gonna see. I'm not coming to any conclusions too quick. I'm just gonna wait and see how the wipes go. Apparently Shadowfrax might be doing a video to raise some hype about it. So that would be cool. But yeah, I'm just going to wait and see how these initial wipes go on Zen Labs for the first week. And then we'll like re-evaluate it from there.
Someone is just asking about a recap. We literally just ended it.
It's cool. I can do. There's not much, so I can do
Yeah.
a really quick one. On Aux 2, we got nuclear missile silo, the new monument. There's double saddles and a bunch of improvements to in-game maps like pinging and multiple map markers that can be labeled and shared with your friends. That's on Aux 2. It's not clear if Aux 2 is going to be merged in with staging and actually have that stuff come in the April 6th update 2 weeks from today. I got my fingers crossed, and I'm thinking the devs are shooting to get that stuff in. And that would mean April 6th, we got a new monument, the nuclear missile silo. We got double saddles. We got in game map improvements. There's also this auto wear clothing quality of life thing where you hold Alt look while right clicking, and it'll like have you wear the clothing items instead of moving it into a box. There's some new world models coming. There's team UI and name tags will use Steam nicknames now if you want them to. They changed the satchel values back to normal, so because it was nerfed accidentally with the force swipe. There's more work on the ferry terminals and that server to server transfer stuff, and they fixed an issue with excavator puzzle on reset, killing sleepers in nearby bases. But that's basically it for the recapity cap for what's going on. And really, we're waiting to see that Aux 2 either open up to the public or get merged into staging early next week to really get confirmation that the April 6th update is going to have this new nuclear missile silo, the double saddles, and all that stuff. So we'll keep you posted as always. As always, rustified.com every Thursday, first thing midnight. We post an article summarizing all that's going on in development in text and images. And then also every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, we're here for about an hour on Twitch showing off what's going on in Rust development for the week. So we'll keep you posted as time goes on.
Is it April 6th that the Happiness is going on Zen Labs?
Yes, April 6th is when Happus is going on Zen Labs, and it's EU Zen Labs and US Zen Labs. We're going to play with a 200 pop to start. We'll be open to upping it if there's like a really high demand, but yeah, that's the plan for the time being.
Well, you're welcome, Krampus. That's it, I think. No more questions.
All right, cool. Well, I do want to thank everyone for tuning in. We are not the Rust developers. We're not on the Face Punch payroll. If we are, we'd be at GDC right now. But no, we're just independent fans of the game like you guys who love running the best servers that we possibly can and reporting on development news every week. So the only way that we can do that is through the support of the community. So to everyone who just tunes in and watches, to people who give us bits, whatever the hell those are, to people who subscribe on Twitch, and to our wonderful, beautiful, loyal VIP customers. Thank you all so much for the support. We literally couldn't show up week after week, run the servers that we do, and report on the news that we do without that support from you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for that support. Thank you for tuning in. Much love to you all. We will be back next week, same time, same place. Huge thank you, Artemis and Miss D, that's me, for being my co MCs as always.
You're welcome, Bugs.
Yep, you're most welcome.
And with that, we're going to wind this puppy down. I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. This is Bugs signing off.